Hybrid training isn't just about looking good, it's also one of the most powerful ways I've found that actually helped me improve my mental health. And so in this video, I'll break down how combining strength and endurance training has helped boost my overall mood, my focus, my resilience, and why it's been more effective for me in terms of building my and improving my mental health than just lifting weights alone and focusing on aesthetics. So my name is Nigel, and I've been what you call a hybrid athlete for as long as I can remember. And, I've been a D1 track and field athlete, so I've had long experience in terms of, high level performance training. And then after I left university, I started going on more of a lifting and aesthetic bodybuilding journey, as you can see here. And then after just focusing on the aesthetics and trying to build as much muscle as possible, I've also started to kind of balance my strength training with more so endurance training, in particular running, for example. But things weren't always so rosy. So when I left university, I wasn't in competitive and organized athletics anymore. And so I was kind of directionless and didn't really know what to do. I really wasn't even going on the aesthetic bodybuilding journey either. I wasn't really as focused on that as well. I was more so focused on, partying, chasing women. I was out here binge drinking a lot, which contributed a lot to anxiety and, poor health. And then I didn't really have much direction. And it made me realize that living your life like an athlete had really grounded me and put some guardrails on my life and allowed me to kind of have a sense of purpose and direction and community. And it wasn't until I started taking my lifting and trying to, build up my body a bit more serious, and then even implementing endurance training and competing for 5Ks and half marathons and even a marathon that I did. It wasn't until I did that my overall mental health and performance really skyrocketed, and I started feeling like I had a sense of purpose. I had a direction, and I didn't really have a lot of strong symptoms of anxiety or even panic attacks, which I was facing at the time when I left university, when I was kind of living that non-athlete life. And it wasn't until I found purpose again through proper training and living that hybrid athlete lifestyle again was when I started getting things back on track. And so one of the great things about being a hybrid athlete is that I now was able to create what I call performance goals again, right? And really what performance goals are things like, for example, let's say I'm training for a 5K, focusing on my 5K results is something that was really motivating and gave me a clear sense of purpose and direction. And I also had goals relating to lifting and, body aesthetics as well. And even one bench maxes and one squat maxes and deadlifts. And that was great. But there was something different about not just focusing on looking good, but also performance goals of how fast can I run a 5K? What level of endurance can I take myself to? Really challenging yourself in overall performance than just in the gym. And that really gave me a strong sense of direction and purpose. And it was through these type of goals that I was able to set, I started getting a lot more, dopamine and motivation, clear focus in my life. And I just started to notice that by having clear goals that I can measure and see and make progress towards, I started having less anxiety. And I realized that when I was living that athlete lifestyle, when I was in university or even in high school, that sense of direction really helped me. I think it's not until you kind of leave that environment where you start to understand the value of clear direction and purpose and proper goals. And the thing is, when you're directionless and you don't really have goals that you're excited about and that you're getting, constant levels of dopamine and motivation for, it's very easy for you to fall into bad habits, right? I was, chasing after women and letting lust control me and binge drinking and not really taking care of my health. And, it was no wonder that I started feeling a lot of anxiety and depression. And, I never used to face that before. It's something that shocked me, quite frankly. And it made me realize I need to be an athlete for life. And so, having these performance goals is incredibly important. So I'm always setting them even to this day. And the whole point is not I'm going to be like an Olympic athlete or anything. I'm going to break the world record or become a pro or anything. It's more so personal goals that I set for myself that I personally can be proud of, and just trying to beat myself. That's the most important thing. And the other important thing about when I started implementing endurance training into my lifting regimen was that endurance training actually rewires your brain. And for example, running is one of the best things that you can do. Science on this is crazy for endurance training. So it literally changes your brain chemistry, right? So for example, if you start to consistently, run on, multiple times per week, and you're switching it up between long runs and faster workouts and intervals and these types of things, you can start to see these different brain chemistry benefits as well. So there's, studies have shown that, training and running can boost things like serotonin. Your serotonin levels will increase. BDNF, which is a growth factor that improves your brain's ability to handle stress and stay sharp, that will go up. And then obviously your endorphins, the feel good hormones, right? Combine that with serotonin, BDNF, you'll start to feel great. Like there's a reason why they call it the runner's high, and that's really this collection of brain chemistry working together, which brings that high. So I also noticed that I'm even more focused in the gym as well now, because my overall mood has just improved. I'm just like I'm ready to go. Like it's incredible. And the other thing too is like your cortisol also goes down as well. So really what this chemistry, this brain chemistry is doing for you is your overall levels of stress are going down, right? So obviously, literally by decreasing your cortisol, your symptoms of anxiety go down tremendously. And then your feelings of, serotonin, your feel good feelings, feeling comfortable, feeling safe, improving your ability to focus and stay sharp and even learn new things are all going up. And so it's this perfect, situation happening in your brain. And so when I started running, I just noticed that I just became a happier and even smarter person in general. And it's kind of interesting. When I ran, D1 track and field, it was always the distance runners that were like, they're all like super successful and like, and intelligent and they got money today. Like all of them are like in some sort of like PhD program or like investment bankers or like some high level software engineer. And I mean, unfortunately, like it's sad to see, but a lot of the guys like me that were, sprinters and, the jumpers and things like that, like we were successful too, right? Like, but not at the same level these endurance athletes were. And I would even look at, people like on a swim team, for example, or even the rowing team. These were also super smart people. So there's just something crazy about endurance training that just changes your brain for the better. Like if you want to find a way, like a cheat code to become more successful in whatever your chosen field is, start doing endurance training, and this is going to do wonders for your brain. And then the last thing is that hybrid training really builds like a strong sense of connection and community building. So for example, if you ever just kind of go to any regular commercial gym and you're just there to focus on, your weights and lifting and your body aesthetics, like that's cool. Like there's other people in the gym, you can definitely make friends and do that. But most people are kind of like locked in. They got their headphones in. They're kind of looking mean and just like focused on their own thing. And like, that's cool. Like, that's fine. Like I do that too. I go to the gym. I'm kind of just focused on myself. But when you kind of get into like these endurance sports or even just any other kind of sports, like if you're playing soccer, basketball, like whatever it is whatever sport that you like to do, it doesn't have to be endurance training. I recommend endurance training, but in endurance training in these sports, like it's more so community based. And when you're involved in and surrounded in those environments, you just tend to feel like have a sense of belonging. It even has other brain chemistry effects as well. So for example, oxytocin is released as well. And so that's kind of tied to the hormone of trust and bonding, which is really good for your mental health. A lot of people that are facing anxiety and depression, their oxytocin is actually down. So being in a strong community, a productive and constructive community at that, because let's be real, like for example, I had community when I was a party animal, but these weren't like the most positive people to be around. And to be honest, like I kind of felt lonely even though I was around people. And so put yourself in an environment of like really positive, driven, hardworking, and constructive people. And, you know, along with that, you'll also be more accountable and motivated through shared goals together. So for me, for example, like joining running clubs and even just like competing in different races, like you just feel like connected and grounded in this community, like you're part of something bigger. And so, you know, being around others, you know, focusing on the same goals and, you know, that kind of social, that, you know, constructive social connection, it just does, you know, wonders for your mental health. And, you know, that's likely tied to, you know, the increase in oxytocin, your increasing level of like trust with your surroundings and the people around you, and just overall happiness. So this is actually one of the most underrated things that people with a lot of anxiety or even depression kind of face. They don't really feel like they have like a strong community that they connect to. And sports is just one of the easiest hacks to do that, right? So like, for example, like I don't know, as a guy, like this is weird to like, I don't need, like ask out a dude to be like to hang out and like just hang out. Like I don't know, as dudes, like it's kind of weird. Like, but it's something different. Like, hey man, like let's go for a run. Like, hey man, like let's go lift together. Like that's just way easier ask than just being like, hey bro, like let's hang out. It's like, dude, like what? You're trying to date me? Like you're trying to fuck? Like what? No, dude. So like hybrid training in sports just makes it super easy to kind of build those strong relationships with people. So I mean, all in all, I would say, you know, strength and endurance together is a true complete mental fitness type of protocol. You know, I highly encourage you to implement that if you haven't today. And even if like you say, oh man, like I hate running or I hate endurance, like I'm not even saying you have to like go run a marathon tomorrow. It's like, bro, how about you just do like 5 minutes tomorrow? All right, just do like a 5-minute very easy jog, or like do 5 minutes of like biking, or like do the stair, like do something, right? Just try, and then progressively overload, and then slowly over time you can increase how long you go and the intensity. Okay, so just give that a shot. You know, feel free to subscribe for more content. I'll be talking about anything related to improving your mental health and improving your performance. So give me a subscribe. I'll keep making, you know, videos weekly, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.